to the people in the Karnataka Housing Board. There, what they've done is that instead of going in for direct land acquisition, they brought all the landowners together and they've come into an agreement with the landowners. And there's a public-private partnership model where there's an agreement and there's a sharing, and the private sector is coming, and Karnataka Housing Board, they're doing a lot of housing, and the people are very happy there because the landowners are also getting some amount of benefit out of this. So rather than going in for, like in some states...
Same concept here is also planning now. In some
Very
ORR and in between triple R.
Okay.
We are planning same thing.
A similar kind of a public-private partnership.
Approaches and everything, also roads, radial roads, everything also already planning, ongoing works is going.
Okay, okay. That's very nice. The other thing is, the mention was made about FSI. So the floor area ratio is very, very important. You need to get the maximum out of the limited land that's available. So, I know, just now that has been said. So it depends upon the road weights. So you can also do a kind of a cross subsidy wherein if a developer does affordable housing, then he can get an incentive FSI like they are doing in the case of Mumbai, where lands which are occupied by the slums, the developer can come in, and then there's a slum rehabilitation authority, SRA is happening there. So there are those ways by which you can enhance the efficiency of utilization of the limited land that is available, so that you can accommodate more in the limited land that is available. So this FSI incentive is, I think, very, very important. And of course, there are other financial incentives. I don't have to talk about that. It is already
Sure, sure. Thank you, sir.
On the cost of construction, I think you can.
See, I think prefab is for the foreseeable future. Prefab would be a good investment area. Again, there's robotic construction and 3D printing, but it's in very early stage technology, and frankly, not a very good solution for us here, because we have to go vertical. Especially in the West, land availability is high, so you can go horizontal. So yeah, we need to invest in prefab tech and any tech which will help us in going vertical construction, and probably sort of, see, even in prefab also, the more important things are the viability question is coming, especially from the point of view of transportation of these materials. If something can be done around the transportation costs, or maybe some sort of yard or a manufacturing plant sort of, because these are all concealed plants, so they're not environmentally pollution contributing. If you can make some of those plants on different directions of the city, then the transportation cost comes down. So that is what I would recommend. And even the schools like, we have construction worker training schools can start working on these problems, because labor training also becomes sort of important in this.
Yeah, so I'll bring in Mr. Reddy there, sir. He spoke about worker training and schools. So what is the industry body doing about faster construction, cheaper construction, at the same time taking care of the skill development in this sector?
Yeah, especially about the skill development, CREDI National has had a tie-up with NSDC, CSDCI. So a lot of programs have been conducted across the country. Every city chapter, I mean, people are coming for giving their training. Because these days, you know, how, I mean, problematic about the skilling. So no mason want his son to become a mason. No carpenter want to become his son as a carpenter. So now government also is supporting them in many ways. So there is no problem for them to their livelihood. So that's how nobody is willing to come for the work. So now as a developer, we have to give them some pride to work. So already we are giving a lot of facilities. Earlier, the living condition was completely different. Today, the living condition have been improved a lot. So, I mean, and their dressing style, all those things, I mean, it's been changed. Now people are just feeling that, yes, I mean, instead of calling as a laborer, we are calling them as a worker. So that way, some better things are happening. So apart from that, cost of construction to reduce, especially majorly bulk production of the precast. So it has become precast is not a great solution today, because so there is no users for that. There are some challenges in going for the construction. So those challenges has to be addressed further. And when it comes in a huge volumes, definitely it's going to become a I mean, cost effective. I just give an example. When vitrified tile came in, I think 20 years ago, when I used it was 110 rupees per square feet. First I purchased. But today you know how it is when even you are getting it at 40 rupees also. Because the volumes, the technologies, the speed of production, all these things are happening. So in the construction also, we need that. Speed is very important. And even you have to encourage those industries to establish. So the again establishing industry, we are facing some challenges. So those challenges has to be addressed. More people has to come for the industry and more use. I mean, many has to adopt the new technologies. Already you have seen every 7 days you are going to build a, I mean, one floor of slab. Those technologies have been there. We have seen we are evolving. I mean, from a concrete mixer to from gamela to gamela, then hoist to then cranes, and all those things are coming. So future is definitely is for the technology, and lot of research has to take place in the technology also. So to reduce the cost, technology is the only biggest solution. Thank you.
Lovely, lovely. Kishorji, your thoughts, and then we'll move on to Mr. Suresh. He had some inputs on technology as well. Please, sir.
See, I think from a technology perspective, what gets manufactured in the factory on a repetitive basis will obviously be the cheapest compared to what gets done in situ. So if you look at China, I think bulk of their homes are manufactured in the factory and they're just assembled at the site. So it's a assembly line process that they follow. I think that is something which we need to replicate, and that is a much larger issue. But what is most important, I think, apart from the construction cost and technology, I think the cost of building a home, one, time is a very significant factor. And as I mentioned, if the government can facilitate a scheme or a policy wherein the time is cut down, I think that is going to add a significant benefit to the, bring down the cost. The second is the financing of the construction, the developer finance for affordable housing. I think here again, cheaper finance, I think much like what the central government has done with the Swami Fund, which is doing an amazing job in the stressed asset portfolio. I think the same thing, if something that is similar can happen for affordable housing, I think that is another big advantage. And the third advantage is the GST on construction. Now, whether you are building an affordable housing or you are building a regular housing, the GST from a construction side is the same. While the buyer is getting only GST at 1%, but from the developer, the GST on the construction is still the same. If that can be brought down substantially, then I think this will bring down the overall cost of construction. Add to that, if the state government, I'm sure if they can do something and bring down the approvals cost, which is again today similar, and also certain other parameters like, the parking requirements, irrespective of the kind of homes you are building, the parking requirement still remains the same. I think these are some areas where we can work around to bring down the overall cost of construction by reducing the time, by certain interventions from the government and certain use of technology, and also by bringing down the approvals costs and timelines and all this. I think this is everything has to fall in together. Sure. And of course, as I said, finally, eliminate or bring down the land cost component as much as possible. That's the...
Thanks, Kishorji. Suresh sir, over to you. You had some thoughts on technology.
Yeah, I think it's an important one. At the end of the day, it's going to be construction, and the way in which things are going on, the cost of construction is component of building materials as well as the labor component there. On an average, if it is going to be in the urban component, about 70-30 between the building material cost and the labor component there. And this is also the second largest employment generation, housing in over there. You're about 5 crore construction workers, and that's a very major area next to agriculture. So if you're able to give a big thrust for the construction workers who are dealing mason, carpenter, bartender, plumber, electrician, around 65 trades are there, tile layer, glass fixer, painter, etc., etc. And if you're able to do a big job, at one point of time, somewhere in the late 90s, the good moment was the national network of building centers, which is or Nirmiti Kendra or Nirman Kendra. We said that primarily a technology transfer center, a skill upgradation center, a manufacturing center for products or precast there, and also housing guidance center, and also construction workforce. A 5-in-1 job. And fortunately, Telangana has done good in the Nirmiti Kendras also in a big way, but I do not know at this point of time it's still going on well or not, but it will be good to retain, especially your program outside in the rural component of housing and small and medium towns, tier 2 and tier 3 cities. We should strengthen that particular component, and that will give better, in which case wastage will be lower, quality of housing will be better, and we should strengthen in that. And I also agree with him, precast is a very important component. He suggested that at the beginning over there, we left it. There are a lot of good initiatives coming in this country, with including 3D housing, the whole thing. But you require good volumes coming there. Committed volumes are required in that particular area. And previously we thought that we have to do in a factory and bring it all the way to the site there, travel cost and all that. But now there are a lot of technology, we can do it. Also the manufacturing component at the very site itself. Many companies have done. But I agree, the economies will come where the wall. If we are able to do, even today I find large number of good construction with prefab which are being done over there of the order of around 1,800 to 2,000 rupees a square feet as against casting. See, time is the most important one. If in situ construction, if it takes about 2.5 to 3 years for a project of a 20, 30 storied building, you can do the same thing in about 1 year time period. And that's an important component. Interest during construction is a very major component there if you're able to do that. But we should have an enabling environment to support that. But skill upgrading and training through the National Academy of Construction here, NICMARSO unit here, the Credais training institutes, all that together along with the building center movement or Nirmiti Kendra movement can give a big thrust. Take my word, as the Honorable Minister is here, sir, this is one area which can have a major impact for the large construction workforce which are there in Telangana, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Suresh. Abhijit, if I can quickly bring you in back to the rental housing topic. A few speakers spoke about rental housing, and I think there is a consensus amongst the panel that everything cannot be for purchase supply. What has been World Bank's experience? How has World Bank enabled rental housing? Because the economics in India is quite different and very difficult, right, for rental housing to work. So your learnings and suggestions there, please.
Thank you, Preetham. Before I come to rental housing, I'm just going to take 2 minutes and probably reflect on some of the discussions. So blended financing was one of the thoughts that came up, and this is something that many countries have done successfully. We have done this in Brazil, we are doing this in Kenya, looking at providing catalytic risk financing support or looking at providing credit support to developers. So both sides can be looked at. I think the main point I want to say is that when a multilateral agency is getting involved, it need not be in terms of direct financing. It can also be in terms of a guarantee, right? Which means we are guaranteeing that if there is a problem that comes up after a certain threshold, then the guarantee comes into play. So there's a very minimal cost of guarantee. So the actual load of that guarantee on the cost is very low compared to, say, a pure borrowing. And just wanted to make that point because the government is doing its policy thinking. The second is transit camps is very important. But with transit camps, we've seen some states are now exploring with rental vouchers, right? So for a 2-year period or 1.5 to 2 year period, a rental voucher of X amount is being given so that they can rent houses within, let's say, 2 to 3 kilometers of where they're located while the reconstruction goes on, right? And this rental vouchers I'm flagging because as a long-term policy for the government to look at, a rental voucher policy has been experimented in places like Chile, in Indonesia, where effectively every migrant worker who is coming in, recognized migrant worker coming in, is given a rental voucher for 3 to 4 years. And that, over that period, then they graduate to, say, ownership housing, right? So that's another thing the government could consider. Linked to this is also the issue of the lowest brackets, the first, second, third, fourth deciles, the economically weaker sections, and whether they have the affordability to buy, a housing. And this is where the role of the affordable housing finance companies come in, right? Now, with the affordable housing finance companies, the rate of interest is higher than, let's say, going to a formal. But we have seen, based on experience in Tamil Nadu, we have seen that people are able to afford and repay. And the government comes in through two means. So one is they come in through a tripartite agreement between the AHFC, the government, as well as the owner. And the second is there is a certain risk guarantee which is introduced by the government, which says that if you're not able to pay 2 quarters EMI, let's say, we cover it. After that, you'll have to vacate the house. So that kind of a system can also be looked at. Now back to rental housing, the question that you asked.
Thank you.
So, sorry. So on rental housing, what we are experimenting, so you're right, the returns for the private sector to come in is not there, right, to come in from a pure rental housing perspective. So we are looking at a possible blend of grants. So grants which would come from various government schemes that were mentioned, or grants that could come from other concessional sources for the construction cost, right, which actually reduces the cost at which the private operator operates the rental facility. So in Tamil Nadu, where this has been tried, the rentals without any concessional grants would be something around 12 to 13,000, has come down to 3.5 to 4,000. That is the impact that PMAY, ARHC window, or they have the Working Women's Hostel scheme, which is running quite well now, can play, right? So that is one thing I think every state now needs to look at. The second is industrial worker housing. So if we have, I mean, the previous session was chaired by the Industries Department as well, and we were talking of the industrial ecosystem, growing. That ecosystem requires housing, and rental housing is probably the best way to do it. So a tie-up between such industrial sites, industrial zones, or even corridors was being mentioned. New corridors are being set up. Identifying affordable housing within those corridors, right, for rental housing, has the possibility, because then the industrial estate comes in and subsidizes a part of the rent. So here the capital is not getting subsidized, the rent gets subsidized. So there are various models which can be looked at, which has been tried globally.
Thank you, Abhijit. We'll quickly move on to the private sector on the dais, starting with Mr. Ram Reddy. Sir, we spoke about PPP fleetingly, so how does the private sector and how does the industry body like yours, what kind of partnerships with government? We talk about PPP, which is private-public partnership. What models would the private sector be excited about? What models are, foremost in terms of acceptability?
So mainly the government has to provide the land, then proper approvals, proper infrastructure. These three things are from the government side. Then developers will come forward and definitely make whichever the project is there, they're definitely going to be successful. Apart from this, especially for affordable housing, the finance cost has to be definitely, as Mr. Nandkishore mentioned, it has to be reduced. Now, any private developer getting a project funding, it ranges from, and the best developer is getting at 10%, it goes up to even 15% from private lending. I mean, non-scheduled banks. So that cost of funding is huge, and even approval also is taking huge time. Every project, Minister also is in the real estate, he knows how the approval process is there. That has to be simplified, because a project, when the land is purchased or took on a development by paying the huge advances, if it takes a year to launch the project, huge burden on the, finance cost will be there.
The timelines is very important for approvals.
Yeah.
Definitely government will take as early as possible the positive decisions.
Yeah, thank you so much. Now bill now has come, but still, because it's not a criticism, but improvement I'm talking about it. Lot of improvements has to be taken place. Definitely it's going to big help, because Telangana is a model for many, because especially the GO number 86, where Shekhar Reddy has put his best effort, that what is that limit, sky is the limit to construct. That is given a big boost to Hyderabad real estate. Why various developers across the country coming to Hyderabad means because of such decisions. So even we talk across the country, our policies are great. So, whatever build now and TS, iPass, all policies are great, but there is big scope for improvement because every permission we have to go to many departments. Every department takes, every section, it takes a time. You know how much time it takes on that. So on this dais, I request the Honorable Minister, please look into this. Definitely this is going to make a big game changer for us. The vision what 2047 is a great vision. 3 trillion economy is going to be a reality. Definitely it's going to be reality. The way in which in the shortest time, the way in which has been event been conducted, really the MOUs have been signed, really I mean, a lot of credit goes to the Honorable Chief Minister and the ministers like you. Really, I am very, very happy to be associated. Whatever the, I mean, even the policies also across the country, whichever the best housing policies are there, from CREDAI, I can definitely be some use for you. I mean, I can get the information across the country. And the CBR is there to, create some vision document about the affordable housing. We are definitely will be the shareholders in that. Definitely, whatever the best can be from CREDAI, will contribute that.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you. I can quickly go to Ajitesh and then I'll come to the Ramki group. So Ajitesh, your views on PPP models and partnerships with government. What are the most top of mind or most comfortable associations that private sector will accept?
See, I think first and foremost, I think the role of the stakeholder called the government is to simplify the land side of things. Right, like one very, very good thing now we are seeing is auctions. Auctions is a good way. It is actually also a PPP where the government is sourcing the land, cleaning it up and then auctioning it. So I, as a developer, need not worry about so many of the legal hassles. So that's one very good to start with. Right, when it comes to particularly to the affordable housing, I think the slum one which I mentioned would be a good thing. The role of the private sector is to continuously work on cost reduction. And cost reduction is going to come up as a function of economies of scale. As we have more bigger and bigger firms, we have bigger R&D. So naturally, we'll have to go invest because as Honorable Secretary has been mentioning, we have 3 million shortage hours. So the market demand exists. Now the question is, how do we make a profit? That's the only question remaining. So I think, see, if somehow 12% margin can be made, that's it. It's ripe for disruption. And also, I would like my humble suggestion would be for policymakers is to focus probably less on subsidies, because if you look pan-India under PM Awas Yojana and various state government programs, broadly speaking, 10% of the overall cost subsidy has already been given, and that's not really helping. I think we need to work more towards unlocking the market forces rather than the subsidies, because subsidy is also a burden on the exchequer. The middle class person who's paying the tax, it's a big burden on them. So maybe less subsidies and more market force orientation. Unlocking market force will really help all of us moving forward. And another one point which I would like to just mention before I conclude is that, see, housing is the most important sector. Let me put some statistics. Pan-India, we have 230 million people working in the agri economy, where average per capita earning is 10,000 rupees. Right? Then we have 70 million people working in the manufacturing sector, where average earning is 15 to 17,000 rupees. Then we have another 70 million people working pan-India in the housing and construction segment, where the average earning is 25,000 to 27,000 rupees. So for every one person who's working in the construction sector, 2.7 equivalent people have to work in the agri sector. Almost all 1.8 people have to work in the manufacturing sector. So investing in housing under the visionary program of the Honorable Chief Minister to make our economy $1 trillion by 2034, investing in housing related policies will greatly push forward the economy and create opportunity for the bottom end of the society, thereby making them richer. Thank you.
Thank you, Ajitesh.
I think PPP in the housing or the real estate sector is always going to be a tricky thing, because people look at land, and mostly when we look at land, we look at it retrospectively. Are ye land 10 saal pehle you had given it for 1 crore or 2 crores. Okay, so that's always going to be a dicey thing, lot of governance, lot of scrutiny, lot of challenges. So I would suggest, even in a PPP model, eliminate the land part, like what Ajitesh was mentioning. Let the government bring the land, not give to the developer, let the government do the facilitation part of it. I think let rest be left to the private developers. Let economics and profit drive the development. I think provide whatever enabling environment that you can. Also very important here is to understand is on an average in a city, 70% of the land is occupied by residences, by residential development. And still we have, say in a city like Hyderabad, like 3 million people not living in quality housing. I think that is something which is not reflecting very greatly on the overall scheme of things. So somewhere there is something which is lacking. And if this really has to be addressed, it cannot be addressed just by large developers or just by the government. It has to be all sizes of developers who have to be part of it. And one way of doing that is we have to ensure the city spreads horizontally. We are talking of Hyderabad having unlimited land, but if you see, we are not growing beyond a certain boundary. One of the reasons for that is lack of transport infrastructure. We have fantastic roads all around, but we don't have transport infrastructure. We don't have social infrastructure. I think that is where I would request the Honorable Minister and the government to...
In transport, now we are planning a metro line more than 300 kilometers, second and third phase also.
Absolutely.
Definitely it will be useful for in city.
Yeah, I think once that happens, once the transport infrastructure and automatically the social infrastructure will start developing, then I think you will find a lot more developers coming into these peripheral zones to develop the affordable housing. I think that is one area where the government can play a facilitating role than directly be a part of the PPP model.
Thank you so much, Anand Kishore ji. So,
Preetham, just one point, one point I would like to add. I think the objective of the entire PPP model should be government should not lose money, private sector should make money, and people should find solutions. That could be the broader vision statement.
nicely put, Ajitesh, nicely put. So, we are almost nearing the end of the session. I will pass on the mic to Mr. Suresh, and then the Honorable Secretary will also conclude the session. But we want to throw the floor open for some Q&A. Yeah. So, if there are a few questions, we will come to you, sir. The mics will come to you, but after Mr. Suresh's commentary.
Yeah. I wanted to add one dimension to the whole, because the whole thing is housing. And I have here the President Shekhar Reddy Garu, who is sitting over there in the front. He's also there. He's also the National Vice Chairman for the Indian Green Building Council. I bring to your notice the important comment. It is just not four walls and a roof. How to make the home also green in a large way. Integrated water management, integrated energy management, integrated waste management, saving of water saving, energy saving, and good interiors coming, good green to be developed over there. And the Indian Green Building Council, the headquarters is only in Hyderabad, and they're done. And IGBC has done phenomenally well. And you'll be very happy to know, out of nearly 15 billion square feet of green development, which is about 1,500 crore square feet, mind you, 1,500 crore square feet, the housing component itself is of the order of around 3 billion square feet, and that's about 3,000 crores of housing. That's a very big number. And we have got ratings available for middle income, high income, and affordable housing is a very major component. We have a rating for affordable housing also. My suggestion is that in addition to the other components which you are discussing, also add on the dimensions of environment friendly, ecologically appropriate, energy saving, and other features to be introduced in that. So the quality of the housing, in addition to just being walls and roof, will also bring in a house to a home component of good quality being brought in. And I'm sure Shekhar Reddy will take over as the national chairman, like he will become the national president of CREDAI in Hyderabad, both happening. Telangana should be able to do a very good thing for all the housing that you do by Vision 2047, also to bring the dimension of green home as an important one. I thought I'll bring that, because that discussion did not come so far. You talked of land, infra, you talked of money, but not on the green component was not mentioned. And it's a very major area IGBC is contributing. It's available in Hyderabad, and please do that also in a dimension. Thank you.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Suresh. Mr. Gautam, if you have any... okay, so we'll throw the floor open for questions. So if we can have a couple of mics passed around, please. Yes, please.
Can you hear me? Yeah. I'm Professor Santosh Mehrotra. I'm on the advisory council of the Chief Minister on Telangana Rising Summit in 2047. I've heard a lot about more and more development for Hyderabad. What about the smaller towns? Why is it that we are neglecting the smaller towns, which is where most of the people of your state live and most of India lives? There are several win-wins that will happen if your focus as policy makers was on the smaller towns. What are the win-wins? We talked about job creation. You want job creation near to the locations where people are actually living. Point one. Point two, you can actually use prefab in small towns. You can't use prefab to go high. In big cities, you cannot be using prefab, and therefore you have to go high. If you don't go high, the problem is that you will have to keep developing infrastructure and metros, etc., and your city spreads like this. This is the opposite of successful cities of the world. Paris, London, Japan's Tokyo, they are concentrated cities, and they rise like that. So the point is, we have too much concentration of people coming into big cities. We want people to be located in small towns, and that's where the clusters are. The MSMEs are located there. If you build clusters in small towns, you will actually be able to generate jobs, not just for construction, but for the other parts of the economy. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor.
In my opening remarks, already I told you, Andy, in Hyderabad, in between ORR, Triple R, out of Triple R, our plan is state government planning is like that. Definitely, we are 100% do that thing.
Yes,
Sir.
please.
Yeah, my name is Narsaya. I am the Managing Director of Shanta Sriram Constructions. I am developing affordable housing. But, Sir, Honorable Minister Garu, Meeru Kuda construction line lo unnaru. We are facing a lot of problem in developing an affordable housing. See, practically state government is not giving any concessions to any of the affordable housing. The person who is selling at 12,000 rupees per square feet and a person who is selling at 4,000 rupees per square feet paying the same fees to the GHMC and the same registration charges to the registration department. If you fix 1,200 square feet plinth area, below 1,200 square feet plinth area, affordable housing, and fix a norm, you give a concession in registration charges, you give a concession in municipal sanction fees, and you give concession in TDR with additional floors without TDR. And other zones like agriculture or anything, without any change of land use, you should be able to give affordable housing scheme without any questions. Then I think the problem will be every private builder will come forward to do the affordable housing, sir.
Thank you.
Sure, and manchi idea icharu. Definitely government will think that way also.
Thank you very much,
Thank
sir.
Gautam sir, you wanted to respond to the earlier question as well. Yeah.
So, responding to Professor Malhotra's points on the strategy for the smaller towns, as Honorable Minister said, the government has already taken up construction of houses in all these smaller towns. We have taken up construction of 50,000 houses in the smaller towns itself. Already these projects are ongoing. And of course, this entire session was focused on Hyderabad and periphery for want of time, and because the main intent of this workshop was a collaboration between the private sector and the public sector. So that was why the session was tailored like that. However, all your concerns are noted, and government is very committed and very keenly working on those fronts. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll probably take one more question, sir. And please ask a question. Please mention who you want the question to be answered by, and please do introduce yourself. Sir, please ask the question. You can stand.
Hello.
Yeah.
My question is to the Honorable Minister and to the MD of the Housing Corporation. I represent here from National Institute of Rural Development, Panchayat Raj. I think Mr. Suresh and other people are talking about the affordable housing. Second thing, they are talking about the Nirmiti Kendras regarding the material availability, other things. Sir, what I found when you go to the affordable housing, we do not have the masons trained in this technology. So National Institute of Rural Development is giving a training and all these technologies. I think Government of Telangana can utilize the services of NIRDPR to train all their masons in this affordable technology so that greenhouse building can be constructed. Second thing is with regard to Nirmiti Kendras. So it's a very good concept where the material can be made available to the especially PMA beneficiaries. That's a major challenge they are facing with regard to material. So there is a need to revive the Nirmiti Kendras so that they can build the technologies. And I went to Nirmiti Kendra of Telangana, it's a defunct. Huge area is there. So if you can revive it, I think they can take the help of NIRDPR in training people and doing this so that we can build up the masons across the state so that the affordable housing can be taken place. So the Government of Telangana can bring the masons of the state to NIRD where we got a rural building technology park where different model houses are there. They can come and see and they can learn the various technology that can available so that those technologies can be utilized and housing can be made affordable. This is my submission. Thank you very much.
So, just responding to your question. In fact, I am proud to say we have trained more than 10,000 masons before our Indiramma program actually kick-started on ground. This is primarily beneficial at construction and masons play a very crucial role in it. So recognizing this, on the directions of our Honorable Minister, a residential training program for masons was done in NAC, National Academy of Construction, which is under the aegis of state government. It's a very premier training institute in the construction sector. And in fact, 5-day training was offered to masons on all the innovative construction technologies, innovative construction practices. And taking it from there, 2 people, so here we had trained 2 people from every block. So from 500 blocks, 2 masons each had come here and we had organized 2 rounds of training. And taking it forward, the district branches of the National Academy of Construction organized training for masons from each and every Gram Panchayat of the state. So, in fact, putting together, we had trained more than 13,000 masons as part of the Indiramma housing program. Over and above this, in each and every block headquarters, Mandal headquarters, we had sanctioned and constructed technology demonstration houses where we utilized climate-friendly, thermally efficient technologies, roofing technologies, and walling technologies where material construction costs could be saved. And these were exhibited to all the Indiramma beneficiaries as well as masons, as well as the Indiramma committees who are, involved in this, overseeing the construction. So, of course, we are very keen to partner with NIRDPR as well in this front.
All right, thank you. I think we have just so much time. Maybe the last question to the gentleman who got up. After that, we'll have to, I think lunch is waiting, so I'm sure everybody must be hungry as well. So quickly shoot the question, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I'm Harsha from Izura. We manufacture tower cranes. We are based out of Hyderabad.
Sorry,
Sir,
you manufacture what, sir?
Tower cranes. So my question is, we don't see much of innovation in construction equipment industry in India. If you look at, to bring in innovation, it's a highly capital intensive. Largely construction equipment are based off Chinese because they're largely backed by Chinese governments. So if you have to develop any sort of new product in terms of construction equipment, how can any Indian company come up and build, bring in the technology and innovation in construction equipment industry?
Who are you directing this question to?
The government, sir.
To anyone. Mr. Gautam, you want to, so he's asking how can the government support new technology in construction equipment?
See, when you talk about precast,
yes,
To lift the precast material, you require heavy cranes. None of them are made in India. Everything comes from China.
Okay, let me
Yeah, point taken.
respond
Thank
to that. So, even the gentleman from NIRDPR had also mentioned about our Nirmiti Kendras. In fact, we had a very thriving system of Nirmiti Kendras earlier in the old Indirama scheme between 2004 to 2014. Later, these Nirmiti Kendras are not fully functional now, but in certain districts, on the directions of the Honorable Minister, we have leased out the lands of the Nirmiti Kendras to private players, incubators like you, who are willing to come forward and establish innovative, construction technologies, right? So some, novel brick-making units, low-cost brick-making units, etc., and, prefabricated slabs for these individual houses. So we are ready to partner with private players, incubators, innovators like you with our Nirmiti Kendras. In fact, our minister was of the opinion that government must not be directly involved in material manufacturing. So we have these Nirmiti Kendras. We are ready to guide you, facilitate you, do the quality controls, etc. And we are ready to partner with, private players in this regard, in the construction technology front. And we have already partnered with certain players with respect to our demonstration houses, because Telangana Housing Corporation and the erstwhile AP Housing Corporation has always been a key player in pioneering new technologies and increasing the social acceptance of these technologies among the people, because social acceptance is very important. So we had partnered with certain players in exhibiting this novel technology through our demonstration houses, which we are constructing at each and every Mandal headquarters. And even now this opportunity is open, so we are keen to partner with any one of you in this regard.
Thank you, Mr. Gautam.
Preetham, I would like to add one
Thank
point.
you.
See, for young innovators, we have a lot of use cases. Like you want to automate tower cranes, right? So you can maybe reach me out on LinkedIn. We will give you use cases, and we are working with young entrepreneurs even to invest some capital and give business use cases and all of that. So yeah, we need to start working on automations around RMC manufacturing, autonomous tower cranes, because finding workforce for tower cranes is a very big problem. So there are a lot of these problems. Yeah, we would love to partner on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. The Honorable Minister has consented for one more question. One in the back, the person in the white attire, sir. Yes, please.
Thank you, Minister Garu. The session is very nice, beyond my expectation. I had a Nirmita Kendra, it's still working. I think before 2004, I started with the help of the HUDCO. And I manufacture also now. I think, as Mr. Srinivas Reddy know, I was good in politics for about 25 years. I am now on industry only. We manufacture so many items which is suitable for precast as well as green buildings. I only wish that our minister should take lead in making every house as a green building. It's quite possible and it can be done in economical, and our chairman HUDCO has suggested that because the environment will be better and the power savings will be there for a long. So we must take lead, the government should take lead in building the government offices and government buildings as green buildings, because I have seen few green buildings in Bangalore by many of the leading world organizations, and they are very nice. So we must go for that, because the ambience of the residents should be very good, as well as the schools, hospitals, and all other buildings should be green buildings. We should make it a point of that. And I am really happy to hear that word from the chairman HUDCO. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you. And sir, for the want of time, we'll want to close the session. Please do try and meet the panelists off dais. Yeah.
We welcome the Honorable Minister for Tourism, Shri Jupalli Krishna Rao Garu, to this session. So thanks for participating in this session, sir. We are honored to have you here.
And Mr. Gautam, can you kindly conclude, sir, please?
Yeah. So your suggestion with respect to green technologies is noted. So we'll try to, we are now constructing houses on a massive scale, lakhs and lakhs of houses. Government is committed to constructing 2 million houses over the next decade. So we'll definitely incorporate a lot of these technologies, especially thermally efficient construction, which will reduce the cooling load in our houses. Yes. So, I'd like to thank all the panelists, all the esteemed panelists on dais, and all the esteemed delegates who have participated very keenly in this panel discussion. So for me personally, it has been a very enriching discussion, and our Honorable Minister was kind enough to grace this occasion and give his valuable time and valuable inputs throughout this 1.5 hour session. So I'm sure under his leadership and under the leadership of our Honorable Chief Minister, Telangana will create a future-ready, scalable and inclusive, affordable and a sustainable housing model as a part of Telangana 2047. And dear friends, this government is very committed to provide affordable houses to all the economically weaker sections. However, no government, however committed, can on its own deliver the scale of affordable housing that we are talking about. As I just said, there is an unmet housing demand of over 29 lakhs. And these are not all economically weaker sections. Even in several houses which we have allotted free of cost, people are investing at least 2 to somewhere at the minimum of bare minimum of 2 lakhs to a maximum of 10 lakhs in just getting these houses renovated, because people are ready to invest. They have some purchasing power in hand. However, we need developers and builders who are willing to invest in affordable housing, banks and housing financing companies to support the necessary funding, not only for the developers, but also for the consumers who may not have the necessary eligibility criteria to meet the regular home loans. So we need dovetail products for the same. And we would request the assistance of multilateral institutions like the World Bank, from which Abhijit has joined us. So they can bring in the global best practices and also provide us the much needed capacity building support for government organizations like the Housing Board and the Housing Corporation. And of course, we need civil society organizations and community groups that can articulate the needs of the society from the demand side. What is it that people expect? What is their aspiration? What are their fears? What are their desires? So that is as much important when we talk about this affordable housing. And academia and professionals, Professor Rao is here, Suresh Garu is here, so they can contribute to better design, better technology, better productivity. So today's session is not merely a technical consultation. It's an invitation for partnership. It's an invitation for partnership towards achieving this noble goal of providing affordable housing for all. So our intent is very clear that the recommendations, the deliberations from this session will not merely remain on paper. We are committed to bring this into our affordable housing policy, which is in the making and which will be, released very soon, maybe in a time span of 2 to 3 months. So with these words, I once again extend a warm gratitude to all the distinguished panels and participants. Thank you one and all.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gautam. If you guys like the panel, please do give a big round of applause. Thank you, Honorable Minister, sir. Thank you, Special Secretary Housing, and thank you for all the panelists. I enjoyed moderating the panel, and thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you so much, sir, for moderating. And now, hello. Now I request Minister Garu to felicitate our panelists who are on stage. Mr. Vasudevan Suresh Garu, former CMD, HUDCO. So to all our guests, we proudly present the two iconic GI tag treasures of Telangana, the exquisite Pochampalli Ikat shawls, renowned for their intricate tie and dye weaving embody the timeless skill of our artisans. Complementing them are the vibrant Sherial masks handicrafted in the traditional storytelling style that carries centuries of Telangana's cultural heritage. Let us celebrate these GI recognized art forms and the master craftsmen who keep our traditions alive. Mr. Abhijit Shankar Ray, Dr. P.S.N. Rao, Dr. P.S.N. Rao. Ladies and gentlemen, we are presenting the two GI tag mementos that you see here. One is the Ikat shawl and the other one is the Cherial mask, known from centuries in Telangana art form. Mr. G. Rami Reddy Garu. Mr. Nandakishore Garu. Mr. Ajitesh Garu. And today's moderator for our session, wonderfully moderated this session, I must say, Mr. Preetam Mehraji. అందరికీ లంచ్ టైం అయింది నాకు తెలుసు, కానీ అయినా ఒక్కసారి చప్పట్లయితే అవసరం అండి. లెట్స్ cheer each other. So ladies and gentlemen, with this we conclude this session of our panel discussion. And thank you to all our dignitaries who are present on stage here. This session definitely enforces that inclusive growth is built brick by brick, and every citizen should and must have an access for safe and dignified housing. Thank you one and all for joining us on stage. Thank you one and all for joining us on stage. Now we take a short break here, a lunch break. And exactly 1 hour later, we assemble back again here in Hall 1 for our next panel discussion, the theme being the Bharat Future City as a magnet for 3 trillion Telangana. So let's all join back again after exactly 1 hour. But before that, we have a special video which is going to be played for you that's called Indramma Illu. So can we have the AV, please?
For the first time in Telangana's history, a housing mission has emerged not just to construct homes, but to build dignity, stability, and hope. Welcome to the Indirama Housing Scheme, a transformative initiative designed to empower women and provide families with a true sense of ownership. This isn't just another housing project. This is Telangana's most ambitious flagship mission, personally guided by Honorable Chief Minister A. Revanth Reddy.
పేదవాడికి సొంతింటి కళ నెరవేరడానికి ఇందిరమ్మ ఇండ్లు ప్రతి నియోజకవర్గంలో ఆల్రెడీ మంజూరు చేసినాం.
Making housing a right, not a privilege. Across the state, a monumental 3,38,681 homes have been sanctioned. Each assembly constituency receives 3,500 houses, ensuring no region is left behind. Every eligible woman-headed household receives 5 lakh rupees as a 100% subsidy. No loans, no interest. Just a clear pathway to a secure life. Already, the Telangana government has disbursed over 3,142.15 crore and in addition 237 crore in self-help group supported loans have been granted to nearly 22,000 women. This is financial empowerment at scale for the people who've waited the longest. So what makes Indirama different? Everything. This is a housing model reimagined through governance and innovation. From the very moment an application is submitted, AI steps in, verifying details with unmatched precision. No errors, no bias, only deserving families. Every approved house is geotagged, visible on a real-time digital map, enabling the government to track the construction phase. Basement, walling, slab, completion. With 360-degree monitoring and stage-by-stage visual proof, there's no room for manipulation or delay. And for the first time in India, beneficiaries themselves upload progress photos through a mobile app. Every update is documented, tamper-proof, and fully traceable, ushering in a new era of digital transparency. The Indirama housing scheme is not just homes, it's a new way to build India. Telangana has introduced shear wall technology, the same advanced construction method used in luxury towers, now made accessible to low-income families. To ensure excellence, all masons and site teams are trained through NAC certified programs. About another mandal, a model house was constructed, a walk-in experience for families to see. Room layout, interior design, electrical and plumbing placement, ventilation, light flow rent, and structural strength. Transparency, trust, and quality delivered even before the first brick is laid. More than a housing scheme, it is India's first complete tech-enabled, women-led, corruption-proof housing ecosystem. AI-powered verification, geo-tagged construction sites, real-time progress tracking, weekly DBT transfers, workforce trained to national standards, future-ready shear wall structures. This is not just a promise, this is a benchmark for the future. This is Indirama, a mission like no other, a transformation that starts at home and builds the future of Telangana.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us in this panel session. We'll take a short break. We should be back here another 20 minutes, and I'm asked to do that. So by 2:15, we shall gather here, assemble here for our next session. Well, many of you all must be having VIP coupons. Then you can access the VIP lounge for the lunch break, and people who have delegate coupons can access the delegate lounge. So see you all after a short break. Thank you.
అందరూ తెలంగాణ తల్లిని హృదయ పీఠికలపై ఆవిష్కరించుకున్నాం.
across the state so that the affordable housing can be taken place. So